Hello, my name is Venus Zaire, and this is season 2, episode 2 of the Coffee Table Podcast. So, like I mentioned in last episode, I have been really getting into like the letterbox game. I have been going like crazy, basically watching any movie that I can on any streaming service that I already have. And in doing so, I ended up finding the documentary The Crash, because it's been trending on Netflix. Sometimes I watch like trending stuff, sometimes I don't. We kind of went over that whole thing in last episode with my Euphoria beef. However, I decided to watch this documentary because I had already seen a true crime podcast episode by Kendall Ray. I had already kind of like formulated opinions back then on what I thought happened. And I think that my opinion kind of shifted as I matured. And I decided that I wanted to talk about it for the podcast because I talk about whatever I want here and you guys listen. If you haven't watched The Crash, it is about high school sweethearts, Dominic and Mackenzie. They were leaving a hangout with some friends and they had their friend Davion tagging along because I believe they said Davion was like staying kind of with them at the time. Dominic had his own apartment. Mackenzie was his girlfriend. So of course they kind of stayed there. They kind of stayed together a little bit. And I believe like Davion was kind of like, he was supposed to spend the night. He was supposed to spend the night there, or that was where he was staying at the time as his residence. I believe it was kind of more like a for the night thing, just simply because his parents seem like the type of people that wouldn't have like kicked him out or anything like that. Like it doesn't seem like he didn't have anywhere else to go. It kind of just seems like that is where he was going for the night. It's July 30th, 2022 in Strongsville, Ohio. They're driving down the road and on CCTV footage, we can see Mackenzie's 2018 like Toyota Corolla drive basically 100 miles per hour smack into a fucking wall. I don't believe the car caught on fire or anything, but like seeing the aftermath of this car, I have been in small car accidents. I have never been in a car accident where the car has been completely emaciated like that. The car was, first of all, half of it was basically on the ground, kind of like on like it smashed sideways into a wall, just to kind of give you a visual of like what we're dealing with here. Very severe car accident. Initially, when responders arrived, they're like, yeah, this was a car accident, young people in the car, possibly maybe a DUI situation. We essentially come to find out that this bitch Mackenzie Shirilla is fucking crazy. Long story short, like, cause I'm not really like, we're skipping to the part where we expose this bitch basically. She may have done this intentionally, allegedly. Dominic and Davion were unfortunately pronounced dead on arrival. Rest in peace to them. Are now faced with the situation that like Mackenzie is in life-threatening condition. Again, they don't know that if this is an accident or not. So like, of course, the first thing that they do, send her off to hospital. They're trying to get everything situated and understand like what happened, what was going on, whatever. There are a couple of main points of evidence that literally to me just straight up prove that she very much intentionally did this. The first point of evidence, when she was unconscious and they were taking her out the car, her foot was still on the accelerator, meaning she likely never broke at any point going down this fucking street. Never at any point. And like on CCT foot, like she's going down a pretty, like this is like a pretty long like suburban street. This is not like city block. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a decent stretch of length. Never took her foot off the gas. Literally had her fucking musty Chanel slipper embedded in the fucking car, still on the damn accelerator, because when they took her out, her foot just came out of it. I told y'all they had CCTV footage of this. They also have CCTV footage of her driving completely normal minutes before. She did not take this route going to the hangout, but she took this route leaving. For me, that's not super suspicious, just because like there are two main ways to like get to my current workplace, and sometimes I take one way and sometimes I take another way, and sometimes I'll take one way there and one way back. That's not a huge like point of, for me. But the part about this that's crazy is that they had found evidence of her planning this route. 3 days before, they have cell phone data saying that like she was there driving normally in this same area. With all of this in tow, and the fact that we come to the realization that she is really, really like domestic towards Dominic, like extremely domestic towards this man. Literally on some, let me back in the house or I'm gonna key your car. Not only is that manipulation, but that's physical threats. There was an obvious pattern of Mackenzie threatening Dominic. It essentially happened most of the time when he did not behave the way that she wanted him to. There was even a previous incident where they were in the car and she was driving, and he ends up like texting her, calling his mom and saying that he felt scared because of the way that she was driving. The mom's friend ends up having to come onto the highway and basically attempt to find Dominic in order to ensure his safety. This is just one example of, again, this bitch is crazy. So I beg the question. I would like to hold everybody's hand when I say this. Mackenzie is 17 years old. Where's the parental supervision? Also, at a certain point, Dominic, we gotta stop letting her in the crib. We gotta stop getting in the car with her. You try and kill me in the car one time, I'm not getting in the whip with you again. Again, this is the mindset that I have at 25. When I was 20 years old, I might have got in the whip again. I ain't gonna cap. I might have got in the whip again. So this is not even like trying to give like I'm victim blaming Dominic. We actually need to pivot back over here to Mr. and Mrs. Shirilla, because what the fuck are you raising? You're literally raising a menace to society. There in this documentary, there are literally so many pictures of this girl, 17 years old, smoking and driving, smoking and driving, smoking and driving, smoking and driving, smoking and driving. That's like all she did, fat ass blunts. We come to the like realization that she was possibly getting supplied by Dominic, because in some of the texts that they used as evidence of the timeline of what happened that night, we see that one of the friends basically says to Mackenzie, like, hey, can you ask Dominic for $40 worth of weed? I'm not knocking a young brother for his hustle. I'm not knocking him for giving his girl a piece of the supply. What I am knocking is her parents for being aware of the extreme drug use of their child and not monitoring her more and allowing her to go live with a man who they probably knew dealt drugs. This is a very small town. They knew he dealt drugs. They may not have said it in the documentary, but the parents knew. The parents knew. Probably all of the parents involved. It probably was agreed upon behind the scenes to not mention the fact that Dominic sold weed for some reason. And I don't know if that's because they didn't want like the victim blaming stuff to happen, but I do think that it's important context, and mostly in the context of why Mackenzie's parents would allow their relationship to continue to take the path that it was taking, take the path of allowing them to move in together. Because if my 17-year-old was dating a 20-year-old dude who sold weed, personally, I would not let them live together. And I would not even allow my daughter to be in the position where she would be outside of this man's house threatening to key his car if she doesn't let him back in the house. It wouldn't happen, because you're not going to live there. You live with me. Why are you acting like you don't have anywhere to come back to? You don't have a choice. You're under the age of 18. Like, she has to live with you. Like, she's a minor. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion because everybody's like, she's 17, she was a senior in high school. And I do understand the context that they were dating throughout like the entirety of high school, low key, but like I don't see it. I would never like allow this for my child. And the way that they tried to say that he made all his money off stock, but then put the messages in there, it's like low key, like they wanted us to sniff that one out. Not only do Mackenzie's parents just have this pattern of allowing their daughter to low key do whatever, not only do they let her do whatever, they don't even let her face the consequences of her own actions, because she ends up getting charged originally with like manslaughter. Then after they find out, because it was manslaughter before they found out that it was like intentional. Once they found out that this was intentional, now it's murder two. Like she had like 4 counts of murder, a count of drug possession. They still put like the vehicular manslaughter charges on there for like, I thought that was like a murder charge. So I was like, can you even like, she got 4 murder charges for killing 2 people. I don't really understand like how that shit is broken down. I probably could have looked it up a little bit more before I did this episode, but like, I don't really care. The bitch is guilty. So like, if she's going to serve the rest of her life, she's going to serve the rest of her life. I don't give a fuck what they charged her with. They could have charged her with jaywalking. If she was going to do life, then like, whoop-de-doo. Her mom has the audacity to be trying to claim that this girl has POTS, basically, and that she passed out behind the wheel, which like, Miss Shirilla, do you think that we were born 24 hours ago? Girl, what the fuck is wrong with you? Miss Shirilla. And the husband was doing a little talking, but like, it's like at some points the husband was just like, I'm gonna shut the hell up because you sound crazy. cuckoo for goddamn Cocoa Puffs. Girl, what the hell is wrong with you? And like, honestly, just to like end everything off, the only people that I feel bad for are Dominic and Davion and their families. Like, I don't feel bad for fucking Mackenzie. I don't give a fuck if the bitch do got POTS, because even if she do got POTS and she passed out behind the wheel, and this is all real in this specific instance, she wasn't passed out behind that fucking wheel when she was driving all crazy with him in the car. If she didn't do it that day, she was damn well capable of doing it another day. Well, I think that Davion just caught like the most devious stray. The most devious stray. It honestly just shows you that like the people you hang around, like when they say birds of a feather flock together, and if birds of a feather don't flock together, you get caught in situations like this when you're a good fucking person, just because your homeboy is dating a crazy ass bitch. I had to get that off my chest because like I honestly just feel like her parents, like, them people is not right. Like, they're not right. Her mama is sick in the head. Like the way that her mom spoke to Davion and Dominic's parents, the way that she spoke at the trial and stuff like that. Like, I see why this bitch is crazy. The apple don't fall too far from the crazy motherfucking crazy crab apple tree. Okay? That bitch, like, and then this is about to be like a complete 360 pivot, but like when I was like outside partaking or whatever, gardening and things, if you know what I mean, I had this like crazy thought. I was on Instagram and I was scrolling. Swear to God, y'all, shit you not. I saw a Meatball, like, the shawty from Philly or whatever that be on Baddies. I saw a Meatball and I kind of came to the realization that like Meatball is kind of like non-binary realness. Meatball is like the definition of androgynous to me. Meatball is that nigga and Daisha is that bitch. Like, you just like, I'm a I'm gonna put a clip or like a screenshot of the video.
Mayor, that's not what I asked for. I want it straightened, bro.
You just gotta put your head this way.
That's not
Crispy ass lineup. She got the white chalk shit on, just like how the niggas do. And I'm under the impression that like her pronouns are she, her. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not on Meatball's game. However, that is they them realness. She really like she be having a beater on. First of all, no. Then on top of that, it's this one picture. It's dead ass a meme of Meatball with no shirt on. And they do not be taking that shit. They don't be taking it down for nudity. It don't be getting flagged or nothing. Just like how it be with men. Meatball tricked the system into like, you know how Miley Cyrus said that one time, like, they're okay with the boob. They just don't want the nipple. Meatball was out there, titties out, literally sitting in the car, lean back, titties cop. And they let her post that shit on the gram. Meatball is gender euphoria. Meatball is gender euphoria. And that, like, I'm going to end it there. Speaking of Euphoria, episode 7 of Euphoria came out last night, and no way they killed Nate Jacob. I'm sorry, spoiler fucking alert, but if you're coming here, you either don't care or sorry. I get that we're in like this new era of streaming and stuff like that, but like when it comes to spoilers, we got to keep it respectful. Euphoria comes out at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. There is no way I should be seeing clips on YouTube by 10 p.m. How are there clips of the new episode on YouTube by 12 p.m.? I need someone to answer me. Like, I genuinely need someone to answer me. I can't like, it's been have you even watched the episode? Have you even watched the episode before you're out here just like spreading the newest information about it? You haven't even got to fully conceptualize and like think about this episode before you're posting it on YouTube Shorts for me to see. I have a job, okay? I have things to do on Sunday. I can't always watch the episode at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when it comes out. And I need you to respect that. You see me real respectful with my spoilers. I let a week pass. Anybody who's trying to watch it, after a week, the new episode's coming out, okay? I'm not giving you any real spoilers because you need lock in. Because a week is too long, but an hour is too short. There's a nice sweet spot in there, like 3-4 days. Let that shit simmer for a day or two. Why did the clips have to be on YouTube tonight? Y'all be working hard as shit. Episodes still playing in the back. You on Final Cut Pro. Please. 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 Also, the hate on Euphoria, bro, like, I don't even want to say that shit is so forced. I don't want to say it's forced. I'm enjoying myself. I am enjoying Euphoria Sundays. I am enjoying myself. I'm enjoying it. I don't understand how we can find so many things to hate on. Okay, yeah, Sam Levinson probably is using a lot of these scenes as fetish content with Sydney Sweeney. The plot line is there. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about seeing Sydney Sweeney's titty. What happened to the goddamn money in the safe? What happened to Angel? Why is her identification card inside of the safe? I don't want to watch this bitch. Anybody else? This episode started basically on a whole bunch of fuck shit. We have been building up these careers and these lives of these characters after not seeing them for 5 years. And then everything comes crashing down when Nate gets goddamn kidnapped. They done got Cassie s2e2. Maddie gets fired because of the shit she pulled with Cassie and Lexi. I think that I forgot to say this last episode. I was like, somehow Maddie got Cassie. It wasn't really somehow. She basically went to Lexi and was like, put her on the list, please. Lexi puts her on the list. It ends up coming back to Maddie's boss that happened. Maddie's boss was like, you're trying to get your little porn stars into the industry again, and I told you about that shit when you was managing the last girl. Now you gotta go. Maddie's like, I can explain that bitch was not trying to hear nothing. Maddie ain't got no job. Of course, the first thing she goes to do is see if she can use Cassie's OnlyFans earnings to fucking pay her goddamn bill. She comes to the shocking horror that this bitch deleted her fucking OnlyFans. Mind you, Cassie has now found out that Nate Jacobs has been kidnapped, officially held against his will, and she's tweaking out like, I need to get my OnlyFans back. And on top of all of this, we watch a meeting happen where the bitch from the director, Lexi's boss from LA Night, basically let somebody convince her very easily, was not hard to persuade at all, that we don't need an actual porn star to play this part of a porn star in the show, basically. She's like, okay, I don't give a shit. She was not fighting for Cassie at all. I don't blame her. They open this episode again heavily like playing on those religious themes and telling the backstory of Ali and basically how he became a Narcotics Anonymous coach. And then we get to see him play like a pretty big part in trying to help her get out of the situation once he finds out about it. Because we saw that Lexi was no fucking help. This bitch Lexi was frying my shit. She basically just accused Rue of being using again just because she felt like the stuff that Rue was experiencing was far-fetched. That's why some people don't open up about stuff, because like people will be like, oh, this has to be fake, or like you have to just be like crazy to be thinking all of this. This is why Rue didn't want to tell nobody about this whole situation with the DEA and all this other shit. She didn't want to, like, what? It just doesn't make sense to me how much of a fucking hater that bitch is sometimes. I'm not gonna cap. Like, this is supposed to be your friend since childhood, and she's telling you that she's sober, and it's not like she showed up, like, nodding off or acting weird. She was just being chatty because she was going through a lot. Sometimes people just need somebody to talk to. Like, damn, can a nigga have a conversation? But she was so busy writing her play or whatever. Not even the play, because the play was the last season. She's now been tasked with writing what was going to be Cassie's story for the LA Knights, but they have now decided to give it to another actress. You know, Rue basically goes to Ali talking about the same things that she talked about Lexi with, and instead of kind of having a you are using again reaction, he wanted to help her and he wanted to be of support in any way that he can, even offering to allow her to like shelter there for the night. And we kind of see that this is a recurring pattern with Ali, because not only is the pandemic canon, but we saw that Ali lost a lot of people during the pandemic, and I think that really shaped the way that he is going about trying to help Rue. I think they said that Ali has saved many people, but he also lost many more. And I think that was such a beautiful thing to say, because I think sometimes people think that like when they help people, they're supposed to have like this savior complex and everybody that you help is supposed to be saved. But sometimes at a certain point, like you either have to let go, or something like, you know, someone losing their life to the battle that they were fighting will bring you to an abrupt stop. And I think that kind of also goes back to the beginning of the episode with the crash. I don't think that Dominic knew what he was dealing with when it came to Mackenzie, and I don't think that he thought that she was actually fucking capable of that. One of her friends literally said, I don't think that she would ever do anything to hurt herself. She wouldn't even eat a McChicken. And I think that perception of people who engage in a certain lifestyle, like they would never do something that could be harmful, or in situations like with Rue and Lauren, not knowing what somebody is capable of can be a very dangerous thing when getting into like certain dealings with them. Shortly after we find out about Maddie losing her job, Maddie and Cassie basically come up with this master plan to scam Dylan, who is the client of her former boss, one of the actors that her former boss manages, inviting him over for a rendezvousing him, and then essentially posting an intimate picture of them together on Instagram so she can get OnlyFans clout. And it works. They get 100,000 subscribers. When this happens, that is when she is now taken by the same people who take Nate. They call Maddie. They're like, Maddie, bring the money. And for some reason, this dumb bitch decides to go save Cassie. She's your cash cow or whatever. But $1 million for Cassie fucking Howard is crazy. And then also, technically, you're doing it for Nate. I wouldn't be doing anything for either one of them ungrateful motherfuckers. I was literally your best friend and you were my boyfriend in high school. Both of you betrayed me, and $1 million is a lot of money. I would have let them die for free. But no, this bitch Maddie goes to Alamo Brown, and when she gets back to the house or whatever, Maddie's like, oh, Alamo wants you to put that on. And she does. And she goes out there and she's like, I need help with Cassie. He's like, feel the water. Ain't it warm? Da, 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 da. He's in the hot tub. He wants her to get in the hot tub. In the middle of this conversation, this dumb bitch Maddie gonna throw out the fact that Rue has been going on about Nazis and the DEA. And it's like, I don't know if Maddie is fucking stupid, if this was an accident, if she was desperate and she slipped up. I don't know what it is. I need to find out though, because girl, what? You did not just tell the man that you know that your former drug addict friend has been working for at the head of a strip club. So this man probably obviously has some type of dealings with drugs because he's not doing illegal activity. You're going to tell him that Rue is working with the DEA. And I don't know if she did it to be smart and to be advantageous, or if Maddie was so fucking desperate to save Cassie fucking Howard that she treached on Rue. And I literally, flabbergasted is not even like the word that I want to use. Flabbergasted is not even the word that I want to use to describe this. Flabbergasted is not even the word, because Rue throughout this episode is on this whole religious journey. She's talking to Ali. Last episode, she called her mom. She's getting all her ducks in a row. She's trying to go back to the homestead in Texas from like the first couple episodes where she met this family and she thought that they were so happy because they had the basis of religion. Ali's telling her that there's no promised land, but she feels like there's something good coming. Like I said, the FBI, like I said last episode, the FBI basically told her she can, wrap it up on her whole mission or whatever. And I feel like that's why Rue even felt comfortable enough to say anything to Ali and to say anything to Lexi. But Lexi told Maddie, now Maddie told Alamo, and now Rue is in a hot mess again. They are about to pull off this like $8.1 million fentanyl stunt from Mexico. Rue's task is to basically rob Lori and them back with this key that they got 3D printed last episode. So she goes back to Lori's. They on some fucking weird shit. They on some, you're a traitor, you committed treason. And they like racist ass, like redneck. So they doing all types of weird stuff to her and stuff like that. They're talking about she needs to be punished. They lock her in a room until tomorrow because the next day is when her excuse for being there basically was that Alamo beat her up and is coming to kill Lori. So now they're saying, we're going to keep you here captive. We're going to lock you in this room because we don't trust you. And we're going to make you kill Alamo, which like Alamo will definitely kill Rue before Rue kill Alamo. Let's keep that shit a buck. So because of all the weird stuff that was happening to Rue, like because of the fact that like Wayne and the rest of the like weird Nazi rednecks, Wayne is the one that dates Faye, they're like treating her weird. Faye gets mad at Wayne and is like, she's my friend, da da da, blah, 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 whatever. This is before they like lock her up in the room for the night. And essentially he tells Faye, like, you brought her here, I'm going to make you kill her, just like how the Nazi soldiers had to raise puppies and kill them. So in the middle of the night, Faye sneaks to go unlock Rue out of the room and open up the safe with the 3D printed key. They go to open up the safe with the 3D printed key. It doesn't work. So Faye's like, all right, Wayne is sleeping literally right there. She goes over there, snags the key, brings the real key over. They open it. There's no money in the fucking safe. I feel like I spoiled that part earlier, but there's no money in the safe. So now Faye gets mad. Faye gets fucking mad, right? She's like, why does everybody keep lying to me? She starts tweaking out. This bitch screams and wakes fucking Wayne up. That's how they end the episode. She screams and wakes Wayne up right as Rue is opening the safe, and she finds Angel's fucking driver's license. Boom. So now back to this whole situation with Maddie and Cassie and Nas, who is the guy that Nate owes all this money to. Okay. Nas Nas done built a custom coffin and buried Nate. He done took Cassie. He's like, you're going to give me the money. She's like, I need more time. I need more time. Then she basically gets him to call Maddie and ask for the money. So now Maddie's involved in this shit. Now Maddie then asked Alamo. Alamo then took her nookie and decided that now he's involved in this shit. So they get a bag together. There's this beautiful scene of freaking Maddie standing under 3 like heads of deer on the wall, and she's wearing like this beautiful I am Gia like Virgin Mary slip. I'm definitely getting something like that. I'm not gonna lie, stealing the cheese for sure. Like that shit was beautiful. And it was just like a huge piece of symbolism about how Maddie is literally like Alamo's trophy now. She knows how to get money. She's a like get money ass bitch, and now she owes him $1 million plus interest because Alamo's taking interest. That's Alamo's taking interest. That was a fucking scene between the like strippers. Overall, episode was killer. I don't know how many episodes are supposed to be in this. Can I Google it? I think that there's only one season or one episode left from what I think that there's only one episode left from what I'm reading, which is going to be so interesting because like what I know that the first couple of episodes were like 40 minutes. The last episode was like an hour and a half. So I'm like, how are we going to wrap this up? Is there going to be a season 4? There might not be a season 4, but I think that might also be why we are pivoting off of Rue and we are pivoting and leaning a lot more into Maddie and Cassie's story because no offense, but like Sam, you cannot keep affording Zendaya. She's getting expensive. It's been almost a decade since the first season of Euphoria premiered, so I don't think that Zendaya is really in this guy's budget anymore, but I feel like because she was the main character, they had to figure out how to pivot the storyline without her if they were going to have a season 4, which I'm really excited to see. I hope it doesn't take 3 years. I think that is all my thoughts for today. Honestly, I don't think that I had really much to say. I just want to touch on that documentary. I wanted to touch on my thoughts about Meatball. And then I wanted to touch on the last episode. I think I'm going to do a final synopsis. I might watch the whole season again real quick. I think that is all I have for today, honestly. I think that's all I had to talk about. I want to talk about the Crash documentary. I wanted to talk about my thoughts on Meatball, and I wanted to talk about the latest episode of Euphoria. I think that I knocked everything off my list. If you enjoyed the episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will be here every like Monday or Tuesday. I'm deciding. We're going to find out. We're going to see how this goes. And you have a great rest of your week. See you next time. Bye.